Well, this is the cracker that I built last year, and I cracked a little over 3,600 black walnuts with it. This is just a pony clamp mounted to a piece of black pipe, 3/4 inch black pipe. Of course it's not black because I stripped the paint off of it and cleaned it up, and I mounted it to this, elevated it, drilled some holes in it, and mounted on this wooden apparatus, and worked fairly well. But especially if you put the nut in sideways, works pretty good. But doing it vertically with the pointy ends on the plates, which I like to crack them like that, because you get bigger pieces. Some of them can be pretty tough, and doing 3,600 of them, this can get to your wrist after a while if you got some pretty tough nuts. So this year I wanted something different. I wanted something easier because I got a little over 3,800 to crack, and I didn't want to do it with this. I'm not going to dismantle this. I'm going to keep it because it still has some use. So after doing some research online and reading reviews, I bought the Get Crackin Nut Cracker. Very rugged unit, solidly built. It's made down in Martin, Tennessee, and I had this within 2 days of shipment. I'm just north of Cincinnati, so I was pretty happy about that. It's all steel construction, and this top bar is 1 inch square tubing, 1/8 inch thick, and the bottom base part is also 1 inch square, 1/8 inch tubing. The legs are 1/8 inch, just steel. And the lever arm here, this is actually 3/16 inch steel. There's no aluminum in this. It's not cheaply made. Definitely, it's no cheap Chinese knockoff. You can tell that whoever built this takes a lot of pride in their work. It's about 11 inches long, and the weakest part on this, if there is a weak part, is this weld right here that attaches the handle to this pin. Let me get a flashlight and see that better. Yeah, this weld here, that will definitely be the weakest part, but looking at that weld, it's very robust. I don't see that failing at all. Whoever did it did a good job on the weld. There's the weld up here, holding those pins together. So I'm quite happy with this. Now, let's just take a look down here. You can see that they use some kind of a press to make a dent or a trough in there for your nut to sit in, and then they scored it somehow. So that's kind of nice because your nut isn't going to slide around on that. And then on this top plate, they welded some kind of a corrugated piece of metal on there, again, so your nut doesn't slip. So your nut isn't gonna slip around on you. Now I have the reviews said that this cracks black walnuts really easily, and I read other reviews saying that you have to do a little bit of work to crack black walnuts. And from what I've seen, when you put I had some black walnuts left over from last year. When you put them in vertically, you do have to kind of work at it. I'm not going to crack this one because it's a new one. You do kind of have to work at it a little bit. So Based on the dimensions I took off of this, on your average nut size, it's going to be about right here. The length of this arm here, overall leverage ratio is about 18 to 19 to 1. So that means that whatever force you put on this handle, you're going to get 18 to 19 times the force down here on your nut. So being how I have over 3,800 to crack this year, I want it to be a little bit easier. So I put a 24-inch breaker bar on here. It's actually a 24-inch piece of 3/4 inch black pipe that I'm going to mount to here. But I did try it on the walnuts. Cracks them like butter, even when they're vertical. It just goes through them like butter with hardly any effort. Because it does take, for some of these tougher nuts in the vertical position, it'll take 800 to 1,100 pounds of force to crack that nut. And with the 24-inch breaker bar on this handle, I can increase my leverage ratio to about 47, 48 to 1. So that'll give me a huge advantage. The other thing that I'm going to do with this cracker is I'm going to drill some holes in the feet. And so I'll drill 4 holes. And I'm going to mount it to a wooden apparatus, something I can clamp down to the table, because when I have this 24-inch bar on here, it's going to tend to want to lift up like this. So once I get that cheater bar or breaker bar mounted on here and get this mounted to a wooden apparatus, I'll make another video. But overall, I'm very happy with this. 45 bucks. I looked at some others that were well over $100, and I couldn't justify this. 45 bucks, you can't beat it. It'll last you a lifetime. I'm very happy with it. I would highly recommend this nut cracker. So that's all I got for now.